Welcome to Raging Bullets, a DC Comics fan podcast. Episode 207, Special Smallville Season Finale Report. Welcome to Raging Bullets. I'm Sean Whalen, drnorge on the comic forums, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Jim. Sean clearly has no idea how to interpret dreams, so says the sensei of the whatnot, Segulin, and the Duke of you-know.
How's it going, eh?
We're talking about the Smallville season finale, and this is kind of an interesting one for us because usually when we do these types of shows, we do a lot of prep work ahead of time. And we decided on this one, you and I were so excited after the episode that we wanted to get the immediate emotional, passionate response. I was taking some notes on as the episode was going. You were taking some notes as the episode was going. We were both, just kind of jotting down some stuff, some discussion points on this one. But we wanted to give something out tonight, figuring that a lot of people watched the finale tonight. And this will be hopefully a nice companion where it was kind of hopefully like you watched the show with us or at least participated in a discussion with us afterwards, because we figured that a lot of you are probably just as excited as we are. I do want to say, please feel free. This is going to be like a bonus show. We do have another episode that's going to be coming out Monday or Tuesday. That's the second part of our last one that we were mentioning. That'll be 208. And then it's going to continue in the same schedule that I was talking about. But we did this one just as kind of a passionate mini episode, just talking Smallville. So please feel free to send us emails, voicemails with your thoughts on Smallville, because I'd love to discuss this further with all of you. We are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network and the League of Comic Book Podcasts. We're also supported by ComicCollectorLive.com, which is your source for your comic book management needs. Very cool website. Jim, our sponsors for this episode, as always, are DCBService.com and InStockTrades.com. DCBService.com is where you can pick up all of your favorite pre-order books. And InStockTrades.com, Batman the Cult, which is coming very soon. Yeah, we're definitely getting there. And Jim, the Summit City Comic Con, May 22nd. So it's SummitCityComicCon.com. Check out the guest list. It's absolutely amazing. What kind of a podcast are we? Because we're talking about Smallville, Jim, and it's all spoiler-filled with the season finale and the season in general.
Well, I think you just said we are a spoiler podcast. We go in-depth into plotline story twists of the season finale of Smallville. So if you have not watched the episode, I strongly advise you wait until you have, because we do not want to spoil this episode for you.
There was no and whatnot in there anywhere.
Yeah, I know. It
was this build, and I like your little shtick, though, so it doesn't matter that I said it was a spoiler podcast. It's, it's got to be you doing it. There's something, it makes me smile. Without further ado, let's talk Smallville.
Chloe, the Book of Route isn't here.
Jim, we just got to the Smallville season finale, and all I got to say is, oh my God. I'm going to say this was one of the more satisfying, if not the most satisfying, for me, season finales that the show has had. The only thing, it's probably my same gripe that I would have had for last season with Doomsday. I would have loved to have seen more Zod versus Clark, but I think the way that they handled that was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yeah, this definitely, I'm going to put this out there as being the best and season finale. Now, I was sitting multiple times, I was yelling at the TV, no! I was getting so into it, and even the ending, I kind of, got a little angry at, just that it wasn't, you can't call it a cliffhanger, but it is a cliffhanger. It's not a cliffhanger of the story arc, but it is a cliffhanger as what's going to happen to Clark, at the beginning of season.
We'll just talk about it. We'll just kind of jump around and jump back to things in the episode. The cliffhanger ended with him taking the dagger, the blue kryptonite dagger. And the second I saw Zod pull that out, I knew that was, okay, that's how Clark's staying.
Yeah.
I didn't know that if that meant Zod staying, or Zod and Clark staying, or, how, or if it was going to be just Clark, or how that was going to work out. I thought it was very cool. Clark gets stabbed with that thing, and then he goes into that. It's funny how, over the years there's been that kind of, Superman got that Jesus-like symbolism or anything like that, and he fell backwards, like committing the religious sacrifice for it. So, I thought that visual imagery was an interesting way to note the comparisons that have gone on throughout his history.
Now,
do you see it's funny. I did not take it that the show was trying to give him blatant religious overtones. I think they just did that as a cool visual effect. Have you ever seen him as that type of figure?
See, I took the ending as Clark was just doing an ST plunge.
That's really funny. It was refreshing. Is that what you were saying? A little dagger to the stomach is refreshing to you. Have you? No, I mean, I'm being serious because I've heard the comparisons before. I get how people see him. I've never had that experience with Superman. I get how people make that symbolism and all that. I've never made that connection.
Yeah, I don't. I honestly, I don't with Clark and Jesus. I understand people's point, and I'm not even. Too, yeah. I'm not going to argue. Someone say, "Oh, I'm like, I see what you're saying, and I'm not even going to. I don't feel so passionate about it that I would, refute their claims. But it's for me. I've never seen him as being a Christ-like symbol.
I think certain writers have played with that, and I think there's a difference there. I think certain writers have blatantly played with that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's all about interpretation. It's all about how you view a character. It's it goes to the old adage that two people can view this two different stories, or those can view the story in two different ways, and that's one where I've never seen it myself. I don't view him that way. I actually don't want to see him that way. I like more viewing him as a flawed. I like his humanity.
Yeah.
To me, the most interesting Superman stories are the ones where we see that he isn't perfect, that he strives to be, though.
Yeah, and
that's where I connect with Superman.
That's actually one of the things I like about Smallville, is we do see the imperfections. Now, sometimes he does stuff that really just annoy me, and I want to jump in the TV, give my good friend a smack in the head, say, "What are you doing? Don't do this again." Like with him and Lois, we started having that whole debate going back and forth when he was sitting there and he was
up in the farm,
and he was doing the truly Superman, the true Clark thing, the selfless sacrifice of giving her a chance to leave Metropolis, go to Kenya, be with Perry White, pursue her own real life, and not have a connection to Clark. And so when he leaves, it won't hurt her as bad. And I understand that, but I was sitting there going, and even Mariah, it was funny, he said it, that's the same thing he did with Lana. It's not going to work. And I'm echoing that same thought.
Except, huge difference, he did that with Lana and wasn't like in this situation where he thought he was never coming back.
Right.
He did it with Lana because he thought it was best for Lana to be completely away from him. It was safest for Lana to be completely away from him. In this case, he thought, if I tell her now, I get the gratification.
But she doesn't. She'll have the pain. And I understood that, and I liked how she does figure out who the Blur is finally.
Well, and I think he deliberately revealed it there.
Yeah.
I think at that moment in time, he saved her life. He realized the state that she was in, and it was like a moment where everything came full circle, and you realized in this moment I need to let her know. I thought it was a very romantic moment because he's just saved her from Zod. Zod was like, yes, you're right, I'm not the Blur, and I'm also someone who could care less about your life and that type of thing. And it was that moment where I knew Clark was coming in. He came in and threw the punch, and I'll tell you why that going to an extended battle did not bother me at that moment. Because I wanted to see more than anything else what would happen with him and Lois.
Yeah.
And that was great planning because the punch, we saw from the punch and from the visual, it was a great camera shot. You see Zod flying off into the distance. So you know that Clark's punch was enough to get him far enough away from the situation that it gives Clark that moment. And at that point, he has the Book of Ra, which is what Zod's after anyway. Lois is safe. The kiss.
Yeah.
I love that she knew, first of all, that Zod wasn't Clark because of the fingers. It goes back to the episode where she touched Clark's fingers when Clark was behind her. So she revealed from the fingers and then the kiss. And that was just, it was such a moment. I knew, I think we both, everyone
we were
like, oh, this is how they're going to find out. And it was so cool how they played that because they toyed with our emotions earlier on. And I love the fact that Lois and Clark are still a married couple in comics. I love that they haven't undone that. I think it's a relationship that works. It's one of those that I'm very protective of. Like, if they undid this, I would be incredibly angry.
Oh, yeah. This is the marriage that we talked about it when Ollie and Dinah, when they split them up. We're like, yeah, okay. We don't want to see it, but we understand why.
It fits the characters.
Story fits the character. If they ever undid Lois and Clark,
and Dinah, I like Dinah now.
Yeah,
so I'm okay with that. We got Dinah. Dinah's back.
Oh yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
We'll talk more about that one later.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to do. We'll do a whole segment on Dinah being back, but
the Lois and Clark marriage, and that's.
Wait, I'm going to say one thing. I've got a little in my notes here. I put down favorite heroes and favorite villains, and then I put down least favorite hero because I wanted to cue myself. She's probably my least favorite portrayal on Smallville, Black Canary.
Yeah,
I never got the full Black Canary vibe from the character. I don't dislike the character, so it isn't like. It's my least favorite, but I'm not like... I was glad to see Black Canary there. I'm glad for the nod to her in the DCU. I don't think that she ever got what I consider to be a Black Canary portrayal. She's probably been my least favorite. I would love if the character appears next season for them to kind of step it up a bit with her. It'd be a great opportunity if she does do... I don't know what the plans are for next season. But being the final season of the show, and if they do bring that character back, I hope there is an opportunity to really kind of... my dislike for the portrayal of her has lessened greatly, because her more recent appearances I thought were better. But I don't feel yet we've fully got Black Canary. And with her being a young enough character, you could easily evolve her into that.
Yeah, and it's funny, because I think... we're like, because I'm in agreement with you on for Smallville universe, my least favorite is Black Canary.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, and a lot of stuff you're saying, and the current stuff we're getting a little bit more, but I think what it is we're getting less of her in the current episodes, so that it's always that less is better, so we see the flash of her, boom, bam, and then it moves on.
A little bit of the longer hair this time.
Yeah, so it's...
I do think she's a character that I would like to see if they do it again, them evolve her a little bit more.
Favorite Smallville character, not including Lois, Clark. Yeah, and I'm
talking about hero.
Yeah, hero. We're talking heroes.
I'm thinking outside of the traditional main cast, because I think the easy one to go to is Green Arrow.
Yeah, see, and I actually, to be honest with you, and we're going to say the same name, Hawkman. I really love this portrayal.
I did too.
And even in this episode, it was, he had the little blurb, the little jabs going back and forth with Ollie. He had that same
to me
aggressive,
was both of them.
Yeah, he had that same aggressive attitude. I was like, it's funny, I'm like, I would expect you to have the Hawkman, gushing love, but I really like this portrayal of Hawkman. I think they've captured his essence, and they've captured some of the cool stuff that I like about the character that they're bringing that into it, and it's a place where they can actually use more of it.
I liked the Justice League JSA moment where when Clark revealed that he'd made his decision, because Chloe, it was really one of those moments where I wanted to smack Chloe in the head. Come up with another way.
Yeah.
Don't send Clark off. Like, why didn't she help come up with the blue kryptonite solution? I was really disgruntled with Chloe at that moment. I've actually really loved, like last episode, I loved the fact that she's grabbing her humanity again and her relationship with Ollie. We're kind of seeing glimpses of the old Chloe.
Yeah.
Where in the beginning of the season, she was so obsessed that I think we lost what I love about Chloe. And I'm not saying it was bad writing. I actually liked it about the character because Jimmy's death had such a tragic effect on her, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, so please don't take me wrong. I thought this season with her was great. I get what they were doing. I loved the evolution back to the Chloe we know and love, to the point where she was willing to open up her heart and fall in love again. The moment where she said that she loved Ollie, Ollie said he loved her, all great. Good moments.
Oh, yeah.
That one moment, though, where it was like, I really felt that we'd reconnected with Chloe again. I thought we wouldn't see her make the same old mistake from the past. And that moment where she was like saying, Clark, you need to think of the bigger picture, and, you need, letting you go would be the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
That was the cold Chloe, I thought, at that moment. And I would have loved to see her think a little outside the box and try to help Clark there. But I loved when he came back with the Justice League in that moment and the JSA. And the first thing out of the heroes' mouths were all, you got us. We can do this together.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this. I love how they didn't want him to sacrifice himself. Each one of them was willing to put themselves on the line. Those moments were really great. Then when Clark explained his position and why, and that he was doing this to lead his people to a better way, that it was all about showing the Kandorians something new, it was cool because it was a good Superman. I inspired you. And that was one of my goals with this team. I thought my destiny was to inspire you. I want to do that same thing with the Kandorians. I want to show them a better way. And I think that's something about Clark, trying to save everybody. In this moment, he looked at that group of people, those heroes there, and said, you can do this. You're in that spot.
Yeah.
And these people need somebody to do that for them. And, that maybe this is my role now. I love that was a really good moment. It was a really powerful moment. I love that the heroes stepped up, but then they all kind of backed up Clark. I like seeing John in the Martian Manhunter kind of outfit again, the little nod. Stargirl also being a liaison in Washington was kind of cool.
And then, and that was kind of a neat thing, just the whole roll call. They brought back Cyborg again, which we haven't seen a lot of him, and I'm glad to see they brought that character back. We both, missed, Aquaman and Bart.
Because he's on the football show, Aquaman, I'm guessing. And I know the guy that plays Cyborg has been on Flash Forward recently.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see him back. I actually I liked his portrayal as Cyborg.
It was, and that was the thing. It was a different. It had a physical different look to me. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't have the full cybernetic implant. He looks human. In the Smallville universe, and as opposed to how Cyborg looks in the comics. So for me, that was a jarring getting used to. But I am seeing. I did see part of the coolness of that character in the portrayal. He was another one that I wasn't too psycho, hoorah, kind of gung-ho about. But he's, not somebody that he's not my least favorite of the characters, because there is some of that Cyborg in him. And especially, I think in this episode, just those little brief stuff that we've seen, he only had a couple lines, he only had a couple bits, but you really saw that Cyborg, buddy, friend, pal, the guy who's got your back. He was he had a very strong, it was like a strong presence, like, hey, you really don't have to do this, you got us here, and Hawkman's like, yeah, we can take him, kind of deal, where it was a nice, he was an actual he felt like he was part of the team.
Right. Zod and crew take out the satellites, which then breaks up this network that they've created with Watchtower, knowing that Watchtower was a major threat at this point. And I love that, how their cyber terrorism was something that making good use of their powers to really just take out communications of their enemy.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant strategy. Now they're disorganized. If they're disorganized, they're less of a threat. Ali, in that moment, we should talk about this, is left in a bit of a cliffhanger. We thought he was being surrounded by Kandorians, as did Chloe, and they have that "I love you" moment between the two of them, which I thought was brilliant. What were those? And we don't know. But
we don't know, and that's going to be season 10. We're going to find out what those were.
I'm thinking Brainiac. I'm thinking Brainiac. I was thinking of big threats. You had made mention. Go ahead.
I was thinking maybe this is the return of Lex Luthor.
I think that is going to be a part of next season.
I was thinking Return of Lex Luthor, kind of like I was thinking robots immediately, and which of course that also leads right into Brainiac as well. It just, for some reason, I was thinking it wasn't a person. And they've already gone through the whole dead soldiers coming back with meteor rocks, so I didn't think it was that. No. That's why robots, some type of cybernetic thing, pop them at. Especially you think about the last we saw of Lex Luthor, he was really messed up.
Oh, sure.
Physically, so maybe he would need to have cybernetics, or maybe we're going to bring in the clone stories, or
a team up between
Luthor
and Brainiac,
team up,
or we could be going back to Luthor and Meteor Freaks, or Luthor. I don't know.
But it's definitely. I thought that was a neat thing.
A Superman Revenge Squad. Who knows? The interesting thing. See, and Luthor does fit the bill to me to a certain extent as being back. The woman with the handbag, Martha.
That's what I thought.
Taking tests because she's preparing for Luthor. Because
I don't know. That's the thing.
Are you taking it as Tess is dead?
Well, they did the time of death, so they did the D flat line, and the doctors were walking out of the room calling her dead. So she's brain function dead, but
For how long?
Yeah, dead doesn't mean dead. Come on.
Right.
Yeah,
and why would Martha, if it's Martha, which I'm assuming it is too, why would Martha go in there?
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I was thinking could be getting some, because I'm on a clone kick for some reason, and I was thinking getting genetic DNA of Tess, or
for
getting,
what?
Or the other thing I was thinking is getting that one bot thingy that was inside her, digging that out, for the checkmate technology, the checkmate tracker kind of deal that we saw last episode. I'm not sure.
Oh, isn't that deactivated now, though?
Well, it was deactivated, but still, you can, who knows what, can use it for. Because when she died the one time,
that to me,
came back.
It to me seems like, that seems to me like a deep stretch to get a little tiny piece of checkmate tech.
Yeah.
I'm taking it as we haven't seen the last of Tess.
Yeah, she's going to either bring her back or do something different, or I don't know. And it's funny because I'm saying the sole reason I was thinking that's Martha Kent was the hands look like an older female, and she was knitting, which is something I could see Martha Kent knowing how to do. But then the big red X kind of deal that was on the bag. Mm-hmm. They really accentuated the red of the bag. And I was like, okay, Red Queen.
We're totally on the same page with it being the Red Queen. I want to go back to Lois's dream, because that's what kicked off the show. We had this dream where she looked a little bit older. She had the glasses on.
Well, it was Clark's dream. The opening sequence, that was Clark's dream. It was Clark dreaming because he woke up and that's when he said, because remember he said, I've seen my destiny. That's when he was talking about what he saw.
And that was what Lois was. I guess I always took that as Lois, but he was dreaming of Lois.
He was dreaming of Lois being the big
position.
and being Lois Lane, the super reporter.
And then the spinning chair was him
leaving to catch the plane that fell.
Right.
That was because that was 2013. Because that was talking about the Metropolis World Fair in 2013.
Right.
And that's the thing.
No, and I did take it as a future thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why I took it as Lois's dream. I think because it started off with Lois.
It was a heavy Lois focus and stuff like that.
Wow. Okay, that changes everything for me. Because I kind of took the spinning chair being Lois subconsciously knowing that it was Clark, but being and it does make sense because the closing line of that was, "You will lead this generation as Hawkman once led ours."
Yeah.
Which doesn't. I totally took that as Clark was dreaming that. I guess I thought Lois was dreaming as well.
Because that's what Dr. Fate told Fate told him.
I guess I took it as Lois was dreaming as well, which I'm totally off on that one. I totally agree with you now. So I'm correcting myself. So it was Clark's dream. And what you're saying makes a whole bunch more sense to me.
Yeah, and I tell you, that opening sequence was just, we were sitting there going, oh my God. Oh, I literally was just like, oh, The
gift?
Oh yeah, the gift
from Martha. And the line there. You open up the card, if you choose to stay, love Mom. We all knew what that was.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be in that box because she made it for him initially. And for anybody involved in the creation of Smallville, that moment was to me a priceless moment because one of the things I've always loved in the comics was that Martha made the suit for Clark. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan of the Kents. I'm a big fan of them being a huge part of the legacy of Superman. In every iteration, whether Dad died, Dad lived, whatever version that they've done, I've always been a huge fan of that. And having that it was Mom who made the suit, seeing it in his eyes,
the reflection in the eyes, I love that. That was something. That was a geek out moment. There's been so many geek out moments I've had this season, especially. Usually anytime we get those cool Lois and Clark moments, those are geek out moments for me. But this one right here, it's, you see the big red S in the yellow field and the blue shirt, you're like, yes, you know what's in there. I was hooping and hollering. I was like, oh.
Now, Lois, and I guess I want to talk a little bit about last episode when we're talking about this, because we saw Lois in a moment where she was ready to walk away from Clark because she needed to find her own spot. She found something when she was working with the Blur that made her feel like she was making a difference. I liked this growth for Lois because the Lois we saw when she was first introduced was very kind of purposely over the top and annoying. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying it was a bad characterization of the character. It showed her youth. It showed that she wasn't the Lois yet that we know and love. We saw glimpses of that.
Yeah.
We've seen a gradual evolution to that strong-willed reporter who yet was a crusader. at times, and we could see those moments. We saw her last episode be a crusader and be a hero. And I loved that moment where Clark saved the public from the sign falling, but stepped back around the corner and let Lois have her moment to save Perry. Being ready to save Perry if he needed to himself.
Right.
But letting Lois have that moment, knowing that she needed that, and trusting that she would be able to do what she did. I like that Clark trusts Lois. To me, the best Superman stories about that relationships are the ones where he sees Lois as a powerful equal. Not with superpowers, but that she's got the heart and soul and strength, and there's something strong about her character. That moment when he was watching her, and he was smiling at her having that moment that he knew she could have, there was something to me, the romance of Superman is something that's really important to me. And that moment where we got to see Lois have that moment of strength, I love the character.
Yeah.
And I really commend them for the evolution of Lois, how she's gone from that so annoying person that she was in the beginning to who she is now. There's something sexy about the confidence and power in her now.
Yeah, she went from the really hot but annoying person to the really hot and cool character.
Yeah.
That, I really, Lois Lane, it's, we always talk about, Superman. What makes Superman Superman is, of course, hugely Jonathan and Martha Kent and his upbringing and the way he was raised, the way he was brought up for, with self-sacrifice and just help being, power is to help the good of mankind. But the other strength of Superman is Lois Lane. And these last couple episodes, we're really seeing just why, Lois Lane is married to Superman. Why she is strong enough and capable enough, and just that, personal, have individual willpower and, self, confidence to be able to be the wife of Superman. That's got to, we talk about how difficult it is to be a hero. A lot of bad times you got to deal with, and sometimes you can't save everybody. There's that huge weight on the shoulders. Well, the people who love them, the people who are around them, have that equally same weight on their shoulders. Every time that Clark goes into battle where it's up against some really heavy hitters and Lois is there reporting the story, in the pit of her stomach she's got that feeling. Because that is still her husband fighting. And it's that strength of her character that allows her to push through. And not only that, but her push through and support Clark.
I also like, though, the flip side of that coin. And it is something that I think the best writers get about their relationship. Clark also feels that he needs to be worthy of her love.
Yeah.
It's not... You see Zod, and it's all about, is the woman worthy to be with Zod? And it's never the reverse, because he's just Zod, and they're lucky to be with Zod because he is Zod. With Clark, it isn't that. He looks at Lois and he questions himself. And there's something to me, that's where I connect with Clark. Because I think in any romance, even when the two people so clearly are made for each other, the best bits of that, and the most real bits for all of us that have been in that situation, because we all have in our lives, it's that it's two-sided. And it is Clark looking there saying, am I worthy to be with her? And him questioning, is it, the best thing for her? I love that he loves her so much that he wonders whether or not it's best for her to be with him. And is he worthy to be there? And is, does she love him for who he is? And it was so cool to me, that moment when they kissed, and you got to see the smile on her face, that it all makes sense now.
She's put the pieces together.
She's loved him all this time, and there was that relationship with the blur, and feeling like Clark had betrayed her somehow, and realizing he never betrayed anybody. Yeah. This was the secret that he was keeping all along, and anything that he did was to protect her. And I think in that moment she knew. She'll remember that conversation she had where, you can't tell me. She'll know now, wait a minute. Yeah. I told him
not to tell me.
And I gave him legitimate reasons, so it all connects now, and everything makes sense. The secrets he was keeping. I am so excited to see next season, and I'm hoping we get to see some great opportunities with those two. I'm hoping they don't do the Clark and Lois have to be apart now that the secret's out nonsense. I don't want to see that. I want to see them grow closer together.
Yeah, with the knowledge. And
with the knowledge
what's going
next
on.
season.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, is that where you're at? I don't want to see. I don't want to see the Lois is with somebody else, and that's. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I don't want to see Lois go to Africa, and be with Perry and all that. No, she's got to stay at Metropolis. Those two have to continue working together, and I'd love to see her start covering for Clark, because next season I do want to see Perry White as the editor of the Daily Planet, and I want to see Lois covering for Clark and helping him slip out and do all that kind of stuff. I so want to see all that, and it's funny. Just the last episode.
I want to also see them though doing stories together. Mm-hmm. I want to see her being a part of. I want to see her more in the role we've seen Chloe in.
Yeah.
Where there's a part, and I'm not saying like I want her to be Watchtower. It's more of a, I want to see her being a, not just a support.
Confidant.
Confidant of a partner, a friend. Everything that a good relationship should be. I want to see that with The Secret out now. I want people who've never read Good Superman before to see what really works about that relationship. Yeah. And hopefully they'll carry some of those things over to the new films. When, inevitably they go to film. I'm still a big fan of this needs to go to film.
Yeah,
it needs to go to film.
This universe needs to go to film. This should be your next Superman movie. Just take, right from here, throw, Tom Welling in the costume, have him be Superman in the costume in the movie theater.
And why, see, in my opinion right now, you've got a DC universe going here that you can build off of into film. We've never done Green Lantern on Smallville before. Yeah. So this Superman could interact with Green Lantern. Yeah. This Lois could interact with Green Lantern. This, this Superman could interact with Batman. Right age, right? We're building here. You got a great building block here for it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I tell you, last episode with Max Lord. Mm-hmm. I tell you, I love that. And I was sitting there, and just him being a part of him, being a knight in Checkmate, I thought was cool. And then just going through, I'm like, oh my god, that's Max Lord, and they're giving him powers. Yes. And
what do you think about the relationship with him and the Red Queen?
I thought that was good.
Martha using him?
Yeah, Martha purely used him. She knew what he was capable of, and she had her little defensive setup, that little sonic blaster in the phone to put him down when he had done his thing. Martha, I don't want to say she's gone a little bit on the dark side, but she has, it's that whole, what would you do to protect the one you love kind of deal. This is a mother protecting her child.
Sure.
So she's going to go a little bit hardcore. She's going to get a little bit nasty. Now, do I think she would assassinate people? If they had her doing that, I would be upset because I don't see Martha Kent being that way. But I can see Martha Kent putting the fear of God in somebody. I can see her trying to threaten people and do all that kind of stuff.
What did you think about her dating Perry White?
I thought it was neat.
I liked it too.
Yeah.
They had in the comics too.
It would make
the Kents socialized with the Whites in the comics, so it's not too far of a stretch for me to see the two of them together in a relationship. It worked, and actually, I'd like to see that continue on more. But go ahead.
I just thought of something.
Okay.
You think back to the Max Lord, the one before the season finale. Mm-hmm. That kind of dialogue between the Red Queen and Tess Mercer in her wine cellar where she gets the Book of Ra. Now, the way that the Red Queen was sitting there talking to her, saying, "Hey, you only care about yourself. You say you're after the planet, but you only care about yourself. You have no idea what it's like to care for somebody, and protect the ones you love," kind of deal. And you saw that one tear streaking down Tess's face. That it kind of hit deep. That was part of her whole motivation to try to, stop Zod and do all that kind of stuff, and just actually.
I like the idea that Tess really did want to redeem herself.
What if, we get kind of a Sasha Bordeaux kind of thing going on with Tess now? You got half her face burned off. You get like kind of a cybernetic implant type deal that brings her back. Instead of it being the Brother Eye OMAC technology, it's something that the Red Queen has, and that's why she was at the hospital.
I'd have to see how it's done. I want to see. I guess It all depends on how it's handled. One of the joys about Tess is that she's one of those characters that you never know what she's going to do. And just when you really get, detest her, you see a different side to her.
Yeah.
And you can't help but go then, well, but there's something to like about her, and there's something cool about her. I don't know. I'm intrigued, and I'm really hoping that I'm not jumping at a red herring here with Tess. I'm really hoping that we do see more of the characters. I've grown to like her. With your idea that it might be Luthor next season, which is a possibility, I'm hoping that if they do Luthor, they only do it if they can get Michael Rosenbaum to come back in some capacity for the finale or whatever. If they don't do that, I don't want to see them do another casting as Lex Luthor. I'd rather see a different villain.
The newspaper article that showed Luthor running for president was Michael Rosenbaum's picture. So
that doesn't mean, though, they just paid to use his likeness.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that kind of teaser...
They've used John Schneider's likeness since he died.
Yeah, but if they're, I don't know. I would say if they're going to do that, if they're bringing back Lex, they're going to bring back the real Lex. I don't think they're going to do a casting.
That's my point, though. I'm hoping...
Yeah, we're both in agreement that they do that, and I can't see them doing the casting. They did the...
I would rather... Oh, no, I would hope they would do another villain.
Yeah, if they're not going to do the real Lex...
Because they've used body doubles.
Right, with the other stuff, and I don't think, I don't think they're going to do that, for a full season. If he's the main villain, they're not going to do body doubles. They're not going to do, half-wake shadow shots kind of deals and all that stuff.
I do feel like the Brainiac story wasn't done. So I feel that's
completely.
I feel that's a possibility.
There could be some left. What other villains do we really have? What other Superman villains do we have?
Any of the
really big ones. I'm talking because we've seen Toyman. We've seen they did a little bit on Vandal Savage, but never really.
They did a Livewire, didn't they?
Yeah, they did a Livewire-esque
character.
Yeah,
right. I don't know. It really hasn't been. It's an interesting rogues gallery that they haven't really. They did Metallo.
Yeah.
They did.
And they actually kind of gave Metallo a redemption type of deal.
I like
the
that.
End there.
He
kind of has he's at peace now, kind of with where he is and who he is type of deal. So that's kind of neat. I don't know.
What did you think about the Book of Ra being something that Jor-El put in place for the Kandorians as a home for them?
Now, is it really a home? Is it the Phantom Zone? Is it another planet? They just said another plane of existence. Who knows what it actually is?
I thought by the end, Clark was very convinced that they were going to their own home, their own planet.
That's what I was thinking. And that's how I got the vibe going on, especially when it's pulling them up in the bright light and kind of goodness and all that stuff. Definitely didn't seem like a Phantom Zone type moment to me.
When you're saying did you really? Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
You got that vibe from that?
Well, yeah, because you're ascending.
I got the Star Trek transporter vibe.
Oh yeah,
more from that thing.
Yeah, I could see that as well.
Yeah,
the zzz.
I did like your sound effect, though.
Oh, thank you. It's the ascension. That's the classic traditional ascension into heaven.
It does fit, though. You know what, though? It does fit the whole religious vibe that was going on at the end. So I'll give you that. You're right, it fits the overtones that were going there.
Yeah, but what if that's one thing I was thinking. What if?
Do you think? I don't think we're going to get more from the Kandorians. I think that story's done.
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah.
I think it's completely done. Everybody's up there, but
I think it's going to be about whatever those.
Yeah.
I think those dots are going to be the kickoff to whatever's going on.
How does Clark survive a fall without any powers? Because he's got the blue dagger in him, so he's got no powers. Now it'd be.
What if they're M&Ms?
What, the blue dot?
The red dots? Yeah, just the little M&Ms.
Little M&Ms, swarming, and they're just denting the ventilation pipes.
Because it's about the right size for those characters on TV.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to think of other than taking the M&M stupidity out of it. Other than Brainiac robots, I guess I'm trying to figure out what else I think it would be. I'm convinced this is more Brainiac tied, with a possibility of him being linked with Luthor. Anything else? I don't know. Because Checkmate's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, Checkmate's pretty Checkmate's been, roughed up pretty good. Possibly they may have shown the death of Waller. I don't know, because they had that episode in the.
We never saw that though.
We never saw her die. We just saw her run like heck,
Right.
and I thought that was very appropriate because Waller's like run.
So is
she's
Checkmate?
able to, yeah.
Is Checkmate done? I don't know.
I don't know. They got to rebuild. If they're dead, well, you can't count on an agency like Checkmate out. You think about it. Any type of
Could we see a
super
Suicide
spy,
Squad?
Yeah, you can definitely see a Suicide Squad coming out of this. Maybe that's who was attacking Ollie was the Suicide Squad. They were trying to get into, what's left of Checkmate was trying to get into Queen Enterprises to get access to that satellite, the same thing that Ollie was doing.
See, to me, with it being the tech, if they were really going after the tech, that to me so fits Brainiac.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, it's the more I talk, the more I think Brainiac would be kind of a deal, but I'm thinking we could either have Brainiac, we could have Luther, or we could still have a Suicide Squad. It may
Right.
not be completely done. The Checkmate stuff may not be completely done, but it looks like they're pretty good. But if the Red Queen is still around, and if that was Martha Kent going into Tess Mercer, then if the Red Queen's around, Checkmate's still around. Because that character really works well with Checkmate, as an opposition to Checkmate. So I can't see them getting rid of the one if they're keeping the other one. So I don't know. Part of me is leaning. Part of me would love to see the return of Lex Luthor and actually have it be Michael Rosenbaum, be the real Lex Luthor come back. I would love to see that for the ending, for the final season, just like how I would love to see the final scene is him, just pulling out the costume to put it on, type of deal. Or
How much of the costume do you need to see?
all I need to see is the big red S. To be honest with me,
Yeah.
the final scene of the series, I would be very happy if, you see him just open up his shirt and you see the S. Or there's
Right.
like a news flash. Oh my God, there's a plane going down. And and Lois looks at Clark, he gets up, you see him, shun, da-da-dun, da-da-da-da-dun, like that.
But what if he
kinda deal.
pulls out the suit? Is that enough
Seeing him pull out the suit, yeah.
from the box?
Yeah. Or the final scene could be him reaching underneath his bed, putting the box that Ma Kent gave him,
And we
and
see the
opening
suit.
up the lid.
Yeah.
And you just see I want to see the big red S.
I do too.
In clear crystal color.
I do too.
Boom, right there.
HD.
Yeah. I'd buy a high def TV just for that.
Would you buy a 3D TV for that if they had it in 3D?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just for that one moment of seeing the emblem.
That's funny. That is something. Like, what else? What do you want to see next season? Is there anything else other than what we've said? Because we kind of covered a lot. I'd be pretty satisfied if the logical conclusion is that we do.
Yeah,
I'm with you that I want to see some acknowledgement of the suit. I don't necessarily need to see him in it. Geek out part of me would love to see that, but I also don't want to. I don't want to walk away feeling that was cheesy.
yeah.
So seeing the cape, seeing some sort of acknowledgement to the fact that the guy put on the suit. It doesn't have to all be right in your face on screen.
Yeah.
Your idea of just seeing the S, whether it's opening the shirt, whether it's grabbing the suit or something like that, actually seeing what we saw in his eye physically in front of him. No more of the teasers, actually just seeing that, I think to me would be very cool.
Definitely.
Because I don't want to, at the end, go, I was underwhelmed by the suit, which can sometimes happen when they Smallville-ize a suit.
I don't want to see them Smallville-ize the suit.
No.
Not at all. His red jacket with the blue shirt is the Smallville-izing of the costume. If they're going to bring this,
that.
if they're going to bring, agree. If they're going to bring in the suit, it's got to be the suit.
And if they're worried about it not looking good on him, my opinion is, do we have to actually see it on him?
No.
Or more just the acknowledgement that off camera he's going to put it on as the credits go out.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool, in and of itself. I don't know. I just there's a logical progression for that. I do want to see more of Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
I'm praying Chloe's back next season on Live. I would like to see a happy ending for her and Ollie.
Yeah.
Which I know that doesn't fit Ollie, because you kind of want to see Ollie being kind of the
Ollie.
Ollie
But
being
here's
Ollie.
the thing. This Ollie isn't Ollie. This. I knew as soon as I was saying that, Jim, stop.
I don't. You know what? Yes and no. I agree with you, and I don't agree with you, because we
It's
We've seen so much of vintage Ollie out of him that I'm going to disagree with that. I think where you're saying he's not Ollie is his relationship with Chloe. We've seen the sweet side of him, but we've seen that side with Dinah too, and he ultimately screws that up.
Yeah.
I think what I'm more so than Ollie in that I want to see Chloe still alive. I don't want to see that character die.
I know.
I don't want to see her go down the dark path again, so whatever route they go, I hope there's a logical, even if the two of them are just dating or doing something, whether it's the two of them together or not, I don't want to see them go through a whole bunch of relationship turmoil that puts her in a bad place.
Yeah, we definitely need to... I want a happy ending for Chloe.
I do. I
really do. And that was the thing, when this whole... It was funny, because we were both saying, throughout the entire episode, oh God, Chloe's so dead. She is just so dead. And just the way it was setting up, and we're thinking she's toast, and I was like, oh no.
I applaud them for two things. Not killing Chloe.
Yeah.
And not having Superman go with the Kandorians.
Yeah.
I did not want to see that.
No.
And I loved it because they so made it seem like that was the only solution. And when I saw the blue kryptonite dagger, I was so thrilled because I'm like, they aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
Because I felt that was so obvious, and I didn't want it to be something that was obvious. I wanted, and I don't know that it's any less obvious the way that he stayed, but I was glad to see him stay. And I love that we know he's alive, but what is that going to look like?
Yeah, how does he survive is what I want to
Do you
know.
think they're going to do a Death of Superman?
No.
Where the sun recharges him or something like that?
No, I don't know how... See, that's the thing. I don't know how he's going to survive it.
Right.
But he's definitely going to survive.
I know how I would do it if I was writing the season opener.
I got $10 I can guess.
To me, there's only one person who would have the foresight and the wherewithal to be there, to know what to do, and to have the strength to catch a falling Kryptonian. It's Hawkman. And, have him swoop in and catch him. And, just give him some sage words of advice, whatever they are. And anything out of his mouth are sage words of advice. I would just have that moment, because it would give, I think, Clark the boost that he needs to become the man that we want him to be at the end of the season.
You know how I would save him?
How would you save him?
I would save him with Booster Gold.
We haven't seen Booster Gold.
I know. Let's introduce Booster Gold into the...
Just randomly have some time traveler just come in and...
Time travelers show up...
And then leave.
Catch it and leave.
And then you see a bunch of people going, who the heck was that?
Yeah, all the geeks would be going, yay, Booster Gold, oh, that was cool.
Everybody just watches go, who the heck was that?
No, to be honest, I was thinking... I will admit I was thinking Hawkman would be the only of the characters we've seen. Martian Manhunter's another one who could catch him.
Yeah.
Part of me wants to see him survive. I was going to think Ollie shoots him a line, but Ollie's got his hands full.
Right. Is there any possibility that the people that aren't Kandorians are good guys?
What do you mean?
The Red Blips.
Well, the fact that they're attacking Ollie, I'm going to say they're probably not good guys.
Okay.
It's a weird, I know it's a weird idea that they wouldn't attack
Well, do we know that they attacked him? Other than the fact they were punching in the heating vent,
and
But I tend to do that on a weekend. You get busy, you kind of like start punching heating vents. It's just kind of a hobby thing.
Yeah, true. It could all just be a giant misunderstanding.
Right.
Ollie could have looked at him and said, "Hey guys, can't we all just get along?" Oh, of course. Yeah.
I was just throwing it out there as like a random whims, because other than those other, we have had no good alternative decisions on who those people could be. Is there anybody who you'd like to see besides Luthor come back to the show? I want to see more Martha, obviously, and more Perry, like we said. I don't know if there's anybody I can think of that I'd like to see come back.
Person coming back?
Zatanna.
Definitely. Definitely love to see more
I'd love to see Zatanna come back. Yeah, that was good.
Yes.
Her couple of appearances were very good. I like Zatanna. It's on.
I've IMDb'd the actress all kidding. What other movies she's been in.
All kidding aside, not just because she's pretty, I do think the character portrays a good Zatanna.
Yes.
She's got that kind of sexy, mystical nature about her. It actually is a good portrayal. Okay, is there any other heroes besides the ones we've mentioned? What do you think of Stargirl? Have we seen enough of her that you think
I think I've seen enough of her because we saw the birth of her becoming Stargirl, and she has that kind of style and attitude and just that, the youth to her. I really loved Mia. I'd love to see them, bring her back.
I would love to see her back as well.
More.
That's where I actually see more of Ollie being Ollie.
Yeah.
Not Ollie being Smallville Ollie.
Right.
But I mean, I like the kind of blurred line. I do. I'm all kidding aside. I know I was joking with you before. I know what you're saying, that this Ollie is different than the comic book Ollie.
Yeah.
But there's enough. To me, there's enough echoes and enough of the foundation of what makes an interesting Ollie Queen. And Mia is one of those things. Yeah. The relationship between the two of them when they're together, I think we get to see a younger version of the Ollie that we like so much.
And that discussion between Tess and Chloe when they were locked in the watchtower, where she was telling Chloe, like, hey, he's self-destructive with his relationships.
Yes.
And so are you. You both are going to, try to destroy this thing before the other one leaves you, kind of deal. So that right there, that's a classic Ollie self-destruction in the relationship kind of deal. So this is Ollie, but there's something about this character's portrayal of it. I see this one as a nicer version of Ollie Queen. And I don't know if it's just because this one doesn't have a goatee, and you always have, if you got the goatee.
We saw some darkness to him this season, though.
Yeah.
We've seen both sides of him. I actually do think he's a lot more Ollie Queen. Every time I go to agree with you, and it's because I do see your points that you're making, but then I'll think back to this season, the guy that was ready to commit suicide. Right. I'm like, we see those destructive moments of Ollie's where we see the classic Ollie. This Justin Hartley's portraying a really good version of Ollie Queen. I really think that this is the Green Arrow. He does a good job with the character.
Now, here's a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to see Batman? Do you want to see Bruce Wayne?
No. I don't mind a nod in the background, like where they
talk about
something
Wayne
on
Enterprises,
TV or something like that.
Wayne Enterprises reference.
Not in one. What would be the point? Yeah, as a fan, there'd be a cool geek out thing, but I don't. We're not going to see it because of the films. I don't see that there's going to be that they're going to bring in Batman. I guess I don't see the point at this time. I think there's a lot of other characters. I'd like to see Wonder Woman.
Oh God, yeah, that would be a neat thing.
And to me, if they're afraid to put her into film, put her on television. To me, we don't have the issues that we have with Batman right now.
Yeah.
If Smallville could keep going on, would I love to see a Bruce Wayne? I'd love to see this universe expand out, and yes, I would love to see Batman. So I will correct myself.
But in the TV show,
but I mean, ideally, I'd like to see Christian Bale portray him, and I'd love to see the meetup of Tom Welling's Superman and Christian Bale's Batman. Yeah, the geek in me would love to see that. I know I'm not going to get that, so I don't want to see them put together a fabricated Batman just for this purpose.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, on the other hand, though, if you're gun shy with her in film, let's do it. TV, why not? What Smallville fan wouldn't like that?
Yeah. Well, and if you think about a couple seasons ago, they had that one female, that was posing as a reporter and kind of deal. She had, she was meteor rock infected, so but that gave her the strength and the warrior kind of, and she was a killer, and so that character interaction between her and Clark was kind of neat.
Yeah.
So I thought, that was a kind of a Wonder Woman-esque archetype. So they've kind of delved in it, they dabbled in it a little bit, but they didn't ever really committed to it.
I don't want to see Booster, and I'll tell you why. Not because I don't love Booster Gold. I think we've got the Legion in place already for time travel type situations. If they do another time travel type story or involving time, I'd like to see the Legion back.
Yeah.
So just because of their relationship with the younger Superman, I'd love to see that back. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't like to see Booster, not because I don't like Booster Gold as a character. But who else would you like to see?
Let me ask you something. Okay. Just an idea popped in my head.
Sure.
What if they did Booster Gold, but they did it as the current Booster Gold where he's trying not to let people know he's the world's greatest hero? So he's interacting with Chloe and avoiding Clark because he's like, Clark can't see me yet. So you do the whole kind of thing where, as Clark's, Booster's doing little stuff so Clark doesn't see him, they avoid that kind of deal.
They explored that with Legion already, though, to a certain extent, where they were trying to avoid Clark finding out too much information.
But they were still interacting with Clark. I think it would be a neat thing, him not interacting with Clark. Now, it's something
I'd still rather see a Legionnaire come back more, maybe a Mon-El or something like that, and kind of go that route. I guess this season, I don't know that I need to see a time traveler. So I don't know that I'm real big on that. I'd like to see more of the formation of the Justice League, more of a solidification of that, leading to more of the reasons why he would become the Superman that we know and love. I'd like to see him. He took on a leadership role, I thought, in this episode, and I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more of going on your point that he was reluctant to take those steps. No, I'm being honest. I'm not bringing our joke back into this. I'm actually acknowledging certain points you've made in the past, and I want to make a rational point about this. I think we've seen growth from that character who has been reluctant to take the Superman role altogether in this series, and something I've actually really liked about Smallville, to the person who's realized that this is who he is and has totally embraced that, and now we see him more looking at how he can make the world the way that it needs to be for the overall direction that his destiny is. I like that.
Yeah.
It's he feels like he's built things. He's been a part of building things. He wants those things to continue. That speech with that whole crew was more of a look what we've done here. Don't let it fall apart when I leave. Because the loss of a major player in a group like that, we saw what happened when Ollie kind of went off the line, how that affected that group potentially. We don't want that to happen again with Clark. I liked that speech because we've seen already how a major player can do that. So I'd like to see more of the formation of that group, the solidification. I would like to see, not just because I love Hawkman, I'd love to see some of the JSAers be a part of that relationship, kind of, the old guard mixing in with the new guard, and kind of, that kind of relationship, because those characters have been more established.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any, hero-wise, I'm trying to think if there's any other heroes that I really want to see. I don't know. Wonder Woman would be a biggie for me if there's a good story for Wonder Woman.
It's weird. Part of me would like to see the Atom.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah, Ray Palmer, bring
some
him
kind
in.
of microscopic. Yeah, some reason for a microscopic story. Do you want to see Clark shrunk?
You know what? I'd kind of like to. I think have him deal with being micro size, being hero clicks, size Clark, and would he still have his powers? Does he not have his powers? Type deal, or I don't know. Just I would like to see Green Lantern, but I don't think we will because of the movie.
I think that's a no-go. Yeah. I can't think of anybody else. Yeah. I really can't at this point.
I think I would like to see a strong. As much as we love seeing stories about Clark and Lois and Clark, and I would like to see more Justice League stories, though.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
Definitely would like to see a strong, solid, and even a formal declaration that we are the Justice League.
Yeah, and that we're taking over the reins in the Justice Society.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that kind of torch passing and that kind of, this is the new generation. I'd like to see that era. And I think that to me would be very cool. Because we've got a kind of a satellite league thing already going with Hawkman and Green Arrow interacting and stuff like that. I don't want to see any superhero deaths.
No, I think
like Green Arrow better be alive.
Yeah, they can't kill off. Only person, and we've said this the whole time, the only person who's got a bullseye on her chest is Chloe.
Do you think she does?
I hope not.
At this stage.
Yeah, I hope she makes it through all full 10 seasons, and I'd love to see the fact that she makes it through it all. When everything is said and done, there's like a part for her in the story, and her part of being, part of Superman's life. And in this universe, Chloe Sullivan has a part in Superman's life. In this universe, Chloe Sullivan is the Pete Ross.
What if Ollie is hurt so bad that there's a reason for him to go someplace for rehab or for things like that, and that would be why Chloe's written off. She leaves with Ollie because she needs to be there with support for him. See, I would prefer that to Chloe being killed at this point, because she's kind of started to put Watchtower behind her already. Or do you think that we've seen a reemergence of Watchtower
I think we're seeing a reemergence of Watchtower in this, but I could see her going to Star City. Him saying, hey, I got to go to Star City, and her going, I'm going with him. Yeah. There's something there, and I got to follow him. I'm going to do this. I can still do Watchtower from Star City and have, her being Watchtower in Star City, and Clark, it would be more of a Clark and Lois, being a team working together, and that whole kind of, like you said, how you'd like to see that.
I prefer that.
Take, Lois take that Chloe kind of role, as the supporting figure, as the helping Clark out.
Do we
with
need
the investigation.
Chloe if Lois knows?
See, that probably not.
No.
So that's the thing you could then, and you can get rid of that way. But I do like the character Ollie, so it's a tough one to say. Yes, get rid of him, but
I'm not saying get rid of him though. But you could have him come back later in the season. See, my opinion is if they're going to do this, if they're going to shelve him early,
Yeah.
to bring him back at the end
Yeah.
for the last hurrah or the grand,
They need
the Justice League battle or something
Yeah.
like that. Something. I don't know. Because obviously the season's going to lead to a big ending. You know what I'd really like to see at the end of next season? I would love to see a really big, badass Superman battle. Like, they've all been cut. Like, the battle with Zod.
It was a good fight.
It was a good fight. I liked the storytelling of this better than the Doomsday one, in the sense that I still wanted to see more fighting between the two of them, but I thought the story worked a lot better for there not to be as much.
Yeah.
But I would love to see, like, if it's Brainiac robots or whatever, I'd love to see some knockdown dragouts, like a really big 2-part, 2-hour
Finale
Superman
where
just goes off.
30 minutes of just slugfest.
And I don't need to see him in the Superman suit for that.
No.
What we saw with him zooming in with Zod, I'd love to see that. Like, when he came in, because that was so awesome.
They could even do him in the blur outfit, the black and the silver, and in that battle is where that shirt gets ripped and tattered, and you see him take off that, and then pulls out the box and puts it down, and that's when you see, okay, now he's putting on the costume.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
The aftermath of the battle?
Aftermath of the battle, he's like,
The suit's destroyed, the blur suit. Yeah.
The blur is no more, I am Superman. Dun,
Right.
dun, 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 kind of deal.
I want to see Lois give him the name.
Yes, Lois has to give him the name.
Yeah. Because they've done so well so far with Smallvilling the traditional way, like with the suit. I thought they Smallvilled it, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
And it was traditional to the comics. They're really doing a nice balance. This season was very satisfying. Did you have any other favorite moments from the season? Something that you want to note? The season had so much. We talked about, obviously, the big JSA episode.
Yeah, the big JSA episode. I tell you, it was some of the really strengthening of the romance between Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
There was, some really cool, just, the kissing, just the big passionate kiss between Lois and Clark, and you're just like, yay, kind of deal, seeing them get together. I thought that the romantic getaway that had the Silver Banshee was a great, fun episode.
We didn't really talk much about that.
It had nothing to do with Zod. The whole Zod story was a completely side story, but it still had those funny moments, like when Chloe and Clark are talking about the intimate times between Lois and Clark, and he's like, "Well, I'm in better control of my powers." Let's stop right there. Yes, let's end. And just that kind of uncomfortable conversation, and then even between Clark and Ollie, when he's like, "So how'd you do?" "No, I stopped a couple bank robbers." "Oh yeah, I had the." They're just trying to make small talk, and they're trying to avoid the big thing.
You know what? You're convincing me of every reason why I don't want to see either of them taken.
I know.
Because I did like those moments.
Yeah.
I like the friendship between them, and that is something where I think it's been a solid of the show. I don't know that that Chloe and Ollie need to leave in order for this series to progress. I'm very curious to see where next season goes. I'm just very happy with Smallville. I'm really glad that they're ending strong. And when I say ending strong, I'm talking about going into the 10th season. I have a lot of confidence that we're going to be very happy next season.
Yes.
I'd like to see another Jeff Johns penned episode. I'd like to see them consider bringing in another comic writer or two.
Yeah.
And just kind of going that route and bringing in some other things. And that's no knock on the current Smallville writers. I just think it's interesting for a little mixing it up a little bit and bringing some of them in to kind of just give a different flavor, because Jeff Johns' episode clearly had a
huge impact.
Yeah, it was very Smallville and was very respectful of what every other writer who's been working on the series has been doing. Yet it had a little bit of a different flavor to it, a different twist, and I like that as well. So I'm very curious to see where the show goes. Great finale.
Yeah, and I tell you, I loved seeing. It was a great ending. It angered me just because I wanted to. I want to know how Clark survives, but. It
also did close off the Zod story, though.
Yeah.
And I was glad to see it was an ending, but a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So one story's done, and it's clear that we're starting in a new direction because of the events in that last one. But I was glad that the Zod story... I really don't feel we're going to see Zod or Kandorians
No,
again.
I think we're done. That story's done. And the funny thing is, we've always said on this show, if it's something that gets a passionate, emotional response, they're doing something right. And this really got throughout this episode, there were multiple times where I was just very passionate about what I was watching. My reaction was like, no, kind of deals. And that's just telling you, Smallville's got it right. They're doing the good stuff here.
And they have to give you a passionate enough hook that you want to come back and see what's going to happen next season. They have to do that. If they ended everything clean, what's going to charge you up for next season?
Right.
There's got to be that something. And they're usually really good at that cliffhanger, wrapping that up in the first episode of the next season and starting us in a whole new story. It has to, right?
Yeah, and
I hope they don't drag. I don't want them to drag that out.
Right.
Maybe our two stories are really the same story.
Our next episode, Jim, is part 2 of our discussion with Ian Levinstein. We're going to be wrapping that up. We're also going to have some more interviews from C2E2. We're going to have some listener voicemails. I have a lot of listener voicemails to get to from our 200th anniversary show. I also have some listener voicemails that have just come in recently that I'm going to put on as well. So it's going to be a mixture of some older voicemails, some newer voicemails, and I'm going to keep doing that until we're done with all of those voicemails as well. I'd like to get those on. So that's going to be kind of our next episode is going to be kind of a mishmash of some really cool stuff that we've been waiting to get to. And then JLA Avengers. So everything's right on schedule for that, and I'm really excited. And we're recording with Kent this week, actually, for part 2 of our JLA Avengers discussion. So we've got a lot of episodes in the can already, which is nice. I don't know about you. I like that we're a little ahead of everything. It makes it a lot more fun when we're recording. I don't feel the pressure, and we're just having a lot of fun recording right now, so we're ahead, and I'd like to keep us this way, because I think this is just kind of working on a really cool level. Our sponsors, as always, are DCBService.com and InStockTrades.com. DCBService.com is your pre-order source, and check out the amazing discounts up to 75% off from DCBService.com, which is amazing. InStockTrades.com, you can pick up Batman the Cult. Free shipping on orders of $50 or more, which if you're buying trades and hardcovers, I know you do the same thing I do. When I'm looking for something at DCBService.com, I usually wait until I get like a couple of things that I want to get, and then I get that order up to like $50, and I take advantage of that free shipping. When you take a look at the discounts and then the free shipping, you're really doing quite well with them. And it's easy to get up to $50.
Very easily.
Yeah, with everything that we want to read. Yeah. It's kind of cool, though, like if it's a series that you haven't read before and you're getting them in trade, if you're getting their discounts plus you're doing the free shipping, you're really, it's a pretty neat package. So it's kind of a cool way to do that. But I picked up 2 or 3 trades last time. I picked up some DCB stuff, like they're publishing their own stuff. I picked up some DC trades. I picked up the Cult. Even though I've got the original 4-issue Prestige format ones, I actually bought a copy of the Cult. I bought something for our contest winner. He wanted the Showcase Presents Brave and the Bold Volume 3, so I bought that for him. And then I also got for myself Star Wars Legacy, the John Ostrander.
Nice.
It was the first trade of that one. I wanted to sit down and start reading that series, because I've been reading their Knights of the Old Republic from Dark Horse. I know this is a little outside of our DC discussion, but it's always fun to kind of talk about some of the other things we're reading. I'm really becoming a big fan of Dark Horse's Star Wars line, and their Knights of the Old Republic book is excellent, and I just started reading Star Wars Legacy by Ostrander, and that's brilliantly cool. So, it's, for any Star Wars fans out there, there's a couple recommendations. That, and I know I got you on Irredeemable and Incorruptible. So those are boom. But oh, you're shaking your head. You know it. Wait. Do you have any regrets at all reading this material?
None. It's amazing stuff, and I was like, I'm shaking my head and growling at you because I'm like, dang it, you're getting me sucked into another really cool story.
But it's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Mark Waid's hitting a home run.
Yes.
Are you still trades with that, or did you get them? Did you break down and get the monthlies? Did you get hooked?
Still trades.
And how long is that going to last?
It is one of those struggles.
Did you read 2?
What?
Both trades?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay.
I flew through those things.
Have you read Incorruptible yet?
I read the free Comic Day sample, and I was sitting there, my hand shaking as I want to order this. And I'm like, no, I will wait for trades. I will wait for trades. And every time I jump on, every time I'm doing the order on DCVS, I go and I look, and I'm like, no, I'm
not good at waiting for the trade. I actually, from our listeners out there who wait for the trade, I'm not good at waiting for them. Like, I use InStockTrades.com a lot of times. Like, Star Wars Legacy is a great example. I was not reading that monthly, so I'll start getting the trades. When I get caught up, though, I shift over to monthly. Do you still have your issue where you don't like mixing and matching?
I still have the issue, but I'm not as psychotic as I was about it. I think now, if there's probably some of the comics that I went back and I got the floppies on, I would have gotten just the trades on, and I would have gotten the back issues and trades and then just gone forward with floppies. I think I see the, I always saw the lunacy behind what I was doing. But I now recognize what I was doing. I'm like, you know what? I don't need to do that. I get the same story I get.
I don't consider it lunacy. I'll actually defend you on this one. I don't consider. I totally get why you like to have it uniform. Like because that's the way when you open up your collection, you view it, and if you have trades, all trades looks real nice. If you have floppies, all floppies looks real nice. I get it. So I mean, I don't think there's anything weird about it. I guess I've gotten to the point right now where I'm impatient. So I love reading the trades. I like having them in the bound form and being able to read multiple issues at a time. But when I get to that point where I've run out of issues, I switch over. I did this with, speaking of Dark Horse again, Conan. I've been reading their Conan books. And I read the first 2 trades of that, and I couldn't wait for the trade. I started going to monthlies then.
Yeah.
So I run into that problem. I'm curious to see what you do with Incorruptible and Irredeemable.
I'm still holding off. I'm still struggling.
I tried going to trades with my Vertigo, and I couldn't. Yeah. Every time I've tried to do it, I end up going back, and I get the issues.
Yeah, see, I'm doing really good on Vertigo. Yeah.
Are you doing that trade? Or are you doing
not
that
every
on singles?
title. Not every title.
What are you getting in singles in Vertigo? Do you know off the top of your head? I'm putting it on a spot.
The Madame Xanadu and House of Mystery.
And then everything else you're going trade?
Everything else is trade in Vertigo, yeah.
Well, why those 2?
It was
not a knock. I'm honestly curious.
It was just something that's just, those 2 really caught my eye, and I was like, you know what? It was one of those things I didn't want to wait for Madame Xanadu. And then House of Mystery, I was like, you know what? I don't want to wait for this. There's a little bit of... Now, House of Mystery may go to trade. I may shift House of Mystery to trade. I'm still enjoying the story.
Because I'm floppies on House of Mystery.
But I found the last couple on House of Mystery I've stockpiled. And once I start stockpiling it, that's when I say, okay, maybe I will shift this to trade. Once I get that I'm stockpiling, I'm like... I don't know, but Madame Xanadu, I've yet to stockpile it. I keep up on it because I'm compelled by the story and what they're doing with her running through the time, the different interactions with the different DCU people. I think is kind of neat, and I'm like, I like the character. I like how they're doing a Vertigo title, but there's some DCU ties. I'm like, this is kind of interesting.
I'm a fan of when they do that too. Where there's some DCU ties in there as well. Fables, Jack of Fables. I'm doing in floppies. And then obviously the tie-ins like Cinderella, which was really good. That's what I can highly recommend. I know you didn't. You probably didn't pick that up. I liked and the novel was great.
Yeah.
The Fables novel that came out. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of Fables. It's really Willingham and Sturgis. I tend to follow all of their stuff monthly. iZombie. Did you get number 1 of that? It's only $1.
I didn't pick it up.
It's really good.
I'm kind of regretting that I didn't do it because
I'm a big fan of
American Vampire is another one I'm doing floppy.
That
was
really
another
good.
one I missed, and I went back and I was able to pick it up. So iZombie was the same thing. I was like, I didn't get this. Why didn't I get this?
Well, iZombie just came out.
Yeah.
It was only $1. And I love Michael Allred's art. The story's fantastic, though. It's a very cool zombie story. I think you'd like it.
Yeah.
It's only $1, though.
I know.
I mean, I actually applaud Vertigo for doing this because this seems to be a consistent thing they're doing now when a new series launches. Throw it out for $1. I think it's a brilliant move because how are you going to get people to try in this market? Go ahead.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yeah. Well, it's really less than $1, though, if you do it through DCB service. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. It's under $1. How can you not pick up the book? It's kind of a no-brainer. I love Michael Allred's art, though. I'm a big Man fan. So it tends to be, and I liked his X-Force that he was on there with. Peter Milligan was the writer, I'm almost positive, back then. But, I mean, he's an artist that I tend to follow his work and what he does because I tend to... his artwork is way keen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a cool thing about him. He's another artist that I follow. I do follow creators. Do you find, that's interesting, as long as I brought that up, do you find that there's certain series, do you follow more characters, creators, or is it a mix mash?
It's really a mix mash.
Okay.
Like, there's some creators that I would pick up the phone book if it was written by them. Obviously Gail and Jeff Johns. Those are those two creators. Anything has their name on it, I'm picking it up without second hesitation or just jump on it.
You know what I'd love? This is the sad part. the two of us, Gail Simone's The Phone Book. It'd be this thick yellow pages volume. And if she did the yellow and the white pages, we would be at cons in line, standing there to have her sign the phone book. And this is the funny part. We're both laughing, yet the scary part is I think we're laughing because it's true. It's true. Because I would do that, especially after the recent release of Birds of Prey #1, which we are doing on this show. There's no way I'm not talking about that book. And I literally, at this point in time, if they paste her name on anything, they could get me to buy it because I'm going to be convinced that it would be the best phone book I've ever read.
I know. You read the Smith section? Whoa,
it was awesome. Wow.
But to go on with characters, Superman stuff will get me. If I see
no matter who writes it,
I will pick it up and just see what's going on.
Do you like those 80-page giants because of that? Because the Superman 80-page giant, which I thought was really good, that came out recently. I mean, not just because it was Superman. I thought the creators in there was some really interesting creators. That it was some very fresh takes on the Superman universe. I liked the different art teams on there. I thought it was a book that just really thematically, it felt like a good Superman book, and it had some great short stories in it. Did you like that volume?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I really dig those.
Yeah. Is there any of those that you haven't liked? Like the 80-page, for me, the 80-page giants that have all come out, I've liked all of them. The JSA one was great. The Justice League,
all hit
Batman was really good. And now this Superman one, they're really doing a great job of picking talent that seems to fit doing stories about those characters. So it must be whatever pitches they're getting for short stories or however I don't know what they're doing to pull that together, but they're doing a pretty bang-up job on those 80-page giants.
Oh,
it's funny how this is turning into this closing the show. It's just turned into a mini-cast.
Well, it is us. Come on, we went off on a tangent on the closing.
Well, because we were doing the in-stock trades ad, and I kind of wanted to get back to some DC discussion. Speaking of, here's another book, an example of one where I see myself going back to picking up the singles. I've started reading the Wildstorm books post Armageddon, The Authority, and Wildcats in particular, and Gen 13. I just started reading them, the first trades of each one. And I'm getting hooked into it again. I haven't read Stormwatch post the Armageddon yet, but I've read those 3 so far. And I like the post-Armageddon world. I'm glad that they went with it. It's kind of like a...
Yeah, they didn't drop it. This was a true destruction of this world where it's, and they're showing how the heroes and the different parts of the world are reacting, how the people are reacting, how some of them are able to rebuild, some have these, catastrophic things they're dealing with. There's a nice handle of each of the different sections of the planet, and I thought that was really cool.
I dropped it because I found not because I didn't like it was time-wise. I found that I wasn't getting to them. I was prioritizing my DC Universe books just because that's where my interests were, but I'll be honest with you, I picked up the trades not for the show. I picked them up because I genuinely found that I missed the characters. Like, I loved Worldstorm so much, and I was enjoying following them post that I was like, okay, I'm kind of into it. I was intrigued to see a Wildcats book that was being released regularly like that, to kind of see that. Because I got into the first issue that Morrison and Lee did, and I was kind of into that whole concept, and then it just didn't come to be. And I'm into this so far.
Yeah.
I'll see if it depends on how quickly I get to the next trades. We'll decide, because I want to read the Stormwatch one next, because there is, this. It seems to be timeline-wise, they're all following the same timeline. They're all
connected, and there's some definite, interplay between all of them.
Yeah, so it's a good world. I'm going to be curious to see if I get caught up, and then I want to follow. I do see myself, if I get caught up, that means that I'm hooked. And I'll start reading it monthly. So I don't know. I'm a bit curious to see. It's all a time thing, and how if I prioritize it. And so far, the stories are very good. It's interesting to see this post. They ended the world. They really did it, and it really is how these heroes are dealing with that their world is ended. And it's major changes for all, including the Authority, who are stranded on this world with members of the Authority separated, which I think is interesting. Yeah. They're separated because of the atmosphere. Apollo and Midnighter, who are lovers, they're married, they can't be together.
Yeah.
Because of the atmosphere. So they see each other very rarely. They have these like moments where they see each other, and it's such a short spell, and it's bittersweet because they have to separate again immediately. And it's such a well handled romance between the two. And then you go back to seeing Midnighter's instantly, badass again. And I'm like, that's really cool. It's written very well. And I thought the separation of the two of them and the way it was because of the atmosphere changing, that it just doesn't, because the sunlight doesn't get down the way that it should, it affects Apollo that way, and it's kept these characters separated. It's an interesting little twist. The books are something that I'm really digging. Actually, if any of our listeners are reading any of the Wildstorm stuff consistently and you'd like to send in some comments on it, I would be particularly interested because I'm just getting hooked onto these trades now. Are you reading it monthly? Have you been reading it? What are you digging about it? Give me some recommendations on where I should go next. I've read the first 3 trades, like I said, of Authority, Wildcats, and Gen 13. I'm going to go for Stormwatch next, but, should I keep going? Does it get better? Does it continue to keep moving? Because it's been good so far. I'm intrigued. So I'd love to hear more feedback on that. And honestly, if you're reading anything else Wildstorm, they're publishing a lot of game tie-ins right now, which I've heard some good things about. So any recommendations people have, anything you're reading Wildstorm, please shoot us some voicemails or emails and stuff, and I'll put them on the show because I'd love to hear some feedback there.
And of course, coming soon, Welcome to Tranquility.
Now, see, that one, that's not waiting for the trade on that one. That'll be a must-buy. But that's a good example of a creator that I'll follow.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to give a true compliment to the Tranquility universe. Not only am I following the creator, I am following the characters.
Yeah.
I read Welcome to Tranquility Armageddon. Very good issue.
Yes.
I think these characters Gale's done such a wonderful job of developing these characters. That was Neil Googe on that one, which was, I would love to see more of those characters. So I'm excited for that next 6-issue mini. And it looks like it's going to be an ongoing of 6-issue minis. Periodically we're going to keep getting more of those. And I can't wait. So, cool. We will be back sometime in a few days. I'll edit together a show by Tuesday, the second part with that. So we'll see you then.
Bye.